This is just about as far west as you can get on mainland Europe. The 2.7-mile magnificent circuit at Estoril in Portugal. And that's scene of round 12 of this year's World Championship Series. And here the World Championship is in a crucial state. 3 men are up at the top. Nelson Piquet leading, Ayrton Senna in second position, and Nigel Mansell third. Nigel Mansell won here in brilliant form last year, and he needs to win again if he's to keep his chances of being number 1 at the end of the year alive. In the 3.5 litre category, the situation is much the same, with Jonathan Palmer fighting for supremacy in his Tyrrell against his teammate Philippe Streff. In the Constructors' Championship, Williams look as though they really have got it made now, and now the tussle is for second place, with Lotus against McLaren.
In pole position, the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger. The first time a Ferrari's been in that position since Brazil 1985. Then it's Nigel Mansell second, Prost third, Piquet is in fourth position, Senna fifth, and Michele Alboreto is sixth. Riccardo Patrese seventh, Johansson in eighth position, then the 2 Benettons of Boutsen and Barbie, 9th and 10th. The 2 Arrows of Chiva and Warwick, 11th and 12th. Britain's Martin Brundle is 17th, Jonathan Palmer is 24th, and the fastest 3.5 litre car, Philip Allio's Lola, 19th. They're already at the back, everybody's in line, the flag has been given, so it's almost now. Away! Mansell gets away superbly, Berger second, Piquet comes through and tries to go on the inside of Prost. It's Mansell leading, Berger second, Prost third, Piquet fourth, Alboreto fifth, Senna in sixth position. It's a clean start. Farini at the back in the second Osella, following his teammate Caffey as they plunge round turn 1. And Prost is going well, Johansson is up. Now they come round into turn 3, and look at that, 4 cars off. So there, that's what it looks like, one of the Zach speeds, and it would seem almost certain that again a Grand Prix is going to be stopped. I can't see. Well, I think that's Martin Brundle's car, and that is Campos in the Minardi, furiously flinging his steering wheel down. Meantime, the men in the front, and you can see that it's a Williams up front now, and it's Nigel Mansell leading, little knowing that having grasped the lead as Derek Warwick is pushed away, that he's in danger of having to stop.
Mansell over the line, and so far they don't appear to be stopping the race.
And now Gerhard Berger is past Nigel Mansell into the lead, but the black flags are out, so it looks as though the race is being stopped. So now, as we wait for the Portuguese Grand Prix to be restarted, here is the reason why it stopped. Nelson Piquet and Michele Alboreto made contact. Piquet's car received a puncture, and that caused Derek Warwick behind him to take evasive action, and a pile-up involving Warwick, Brundle, Danner, Arnoux and Campos ensued, and that's why the race was stopped. That incident certainly caused problems, and when the restart happens, in their spare cars will be Michele Alboreto, Nelson Piquet, Martin Brundle, René Arnoux, Theo Fabi and Eddie Chiva. And as they get ready for the restart, Christian Danner will not be amongst them, and restarting from the pit lane is Campos and one of the Tyrrells. And away. Now let's hope for better luck this time. Another flower by Mansell. Piquet coming up on the outside. Berger is in second place, and up into third place goes Ayrton Senna. Now streaming round turn 1 down to the 175 mile an hour turn 2, and it's Mansell up front. Berger is in second position. Ayrton Senna is in third place. Piquet is fourth, then it's Prost in fifth position, and Michele Alboreto is sixth. Round turn 5, up to the 175 miles an hour, turn 6, this is it. And it's Mansell leading, Berger second, Senna third, Piquet fourth. So Nigel Mansell had a superb start for the second start, as he did in the first. Now, can he control the race from the front? Berger behind him. Then you can see the yellow Lotus of Senna, and then Piquet, followed by Prost and Alboreto.
Yes, it certainly so far looks like a lucky day for Nelson Piquet. He had a banging match with Alboreto, which damaged his car in the first race, but was able, of course, to restart in the spare, because this is theoretically a completely new race. So Mansell, who led away the first time, but did just the same the second time, he'll be very happy about that. Prost a little bit slow away, and Piquet, of course, had a bit of a moment at the start, putting two wheels on the grass, as Berger challenges, and Berger is going to be past Mansell.
A Ferrari leads a Grand Prix. Gerhard Berger ducks out from behind Nigel Mansell's Williams, and look at the gap that there is already. Streaking away in the Scarlet Ferrari on lap 2 of the restarted Portuguese Grand Prix. As he comes out of the S's, he climbs. There's a lot of graded hits. Mansell second. It is Senna in third position. So the two Honda-powered cars are behind the Ferrari. Then it's Piquet in fourth position. Prost fifth. Alboreto sixth. The Ferraris going well, first and sixth. Well, are the Ferraris going to see off the Honda-powered Williams and Lotus cars? And in case you didn't catch it earlier on, the problem in the first race appears to have been caused by Nelson Piquet, who is now following the yellow car of Ayrton Senna, touching Alboreto's Ferrari, receiving a puncture as a result of it, and that caused Derek Warwick behind him in the arrows to take evasive action. Martin Brundle was pushed off by Nakajima, and off went Dana and Arnoux and Campos as well. And that is the signal to Nigel Mansell to say you are 2.8 seconds behind Gerhard Berger's Ferrari on lap 5. Piquet, I've just had news, is in the active car, not in the passive car. They managed to repair it, whatever the problem was. So Piquet is in the car. There he is, that he knows and likes and has done the development for.
Piquet very close indeed now, and he's looking, and he's got alongside, and that's it. Piquet's done it. That was a very good piece of driving, because he didn't have a lot of room in which to make that manoeuvre. So Piquet moves through into third place. So here we just see it again. He got perfectly positioned. He ducked out just before the braking area, was able to get alongside and hold the inside line for the corner, making it impossible for Senna to get back at him.
Piquet has seen off one of the two men who he is in contention with for the World Championship, Ayrton Senna. He's easing away from the Lotus, which is being caught by the Ferrari of Michele Alboreto, and Senna moves across, and Alboreto goes up, and I saw a puff of black smoke from Senna's engine while James was having a word, and I suspect that the Brazilian is probably out of the Portuguese Grand Prix with a blown engine. Now that really is what I hope is an inspired guess, but I certainly saw smoke. Senna has certainly closed. Up into fourth position, then comes Alboreto. Up into fifth place, there he is, it's Alain Prost. Sixth now is Boutsen. There's Boutsen, who is now in sixth position. And Senna, you saw there, is down into seventh position as across the line goes Berger. Here, there was Mansell in the background, down into turn 1. And the gap is 3.1 seconds, 3.147 seconds to be absolutely exact, and that's the reason. Nigel Mansell, fastest lap, 117.4 miles an hour, 122.8, and that compares with the lap record held by Senna in 1 minute 20.9. 4.2 seconds now is the gap between Berger leading, the car you're looking at, and Mansell in second place. Derek Warwick is starting to move up. He is in 12th position ahead of Andrea De Cesaris. And there is De Cesaris, or is it Patrese? No, it's Patrese, Brabham, Riccardo Patrese, who was in 9th position. Looks as though his Portuguese Grand Prix is run with a blown BMW engine. Race leader, Berger. Race finisher, Patrese. Mansell Mansell touring. Mansell out of the Portuguese Grand Prix on lap 14. And that must surely have blown his World Championship chances of 1987, just as Australia blew them the last race of 1986, and he pounds the steering wheel in sheer frustration.
Yes, what a terrible disappointment for Nigel there. Going very well indeed, and it certainly does, as you say, Murray, make his World Championship chances look pretty distant now.
And that is Senna in the pits. And Senna is in the pits for far more than a tyre stop. In fact, they're not even changing the tyres. This could well be a repetition of the active suspension hydraulics problem that they had in practice. And it's now lap 21. Berger that you look at, 9.5 seconds ahead of Piquet, who is 3 seconds ahead of Alboreto third, Prost fourth, Boutsen fifth, Farby sixth, Johansson seventh, Cheever eighth, Warwick is ninth now, ahead of De Cesaris 10th, Nannini 11th, and Martin Brundle is 12th in the Zaxby. Into the pits there is the first of the top men to come in for new tyres, Thierry Boutsen on lap 23, and this is a tardy stop. Nothing to be proud about, unfortunately, for the Benetton team. And out of the race goes Derek Warwick. It's all happening here in Portugal. Derek Warwick out on lap 23, and he was in 7th position, only just off the points. Another very, very disappointing race for the Englishman, who, of course, is looking for a good record in the closing stages of the season, because he obviously wants to get into one of the major teams next year if he can. There are 2 places possible. Benetton, the second seat if Theo Farby goes to American racing next year, and the second Williams seat, of course, now that Nelson Piquet is leaving the team and going to Lotus. But meantime, there is the Ferrari of Alboreto as number 17, Derek Warwick, restarts. He'd obviously just spun off.
Alboreto appears to have got himself in front of Piquet. Berger still comes to the lead and going quicker and quicker. That new fastest lap now for Berger, 121.89. But the battle for second place is what matters, and Alboreto is indeed up into second place. He's some 17 seconds behind Berger. Piquet and Prost snapping at his heels.
And Warwick off again. What on earth is wrong with Derek or the arrows? Because Derek, who spun off once, has done the same thing again, which is most unlike him with all his experience. And again, he's having to reverse onto the course, and that's Cheever going through in 6th position. And for the first time, we're seeing this during the race, which is a pity we haven't had a lot more of it, as 2 cars, and it's Piquet's one of them. Piquet's one of them, goes soaring past Nakajima and Alboreto, and it looks to me as though Piquet has regained that second position. Yes, he has. Piquet's now second. Alboreto is down to third. Prost is right up behind him, and the Brazilian is flying again. And they're waiting now. That's the Williams pit, waiting for Nelson Piquet to come in. Now there's Berger completing lap 30. Now there's going to be that gap before Nelson Piquet comes through in second place. And coming towards us now, that's Martin Brundle and Alboreto and Prost. And where is Piquet? There he is. That's the answer. Nelson Piquet into the pits. Now, is this going to be one of these Super Williams stops? Not a super one, but it's not too bad. Just over 10 seconds. And Nelson Piquet is down to 4th position as he rejoins the race. Berger, Alboreto, Prost, Piquet, Farby. Well, meantime, there is the race leader, Gerhard Berger. He is now on his 31st lap. As Alboreto second, and into the pits comes Prost. Prost, who was in 3rd position behind Berger and Alboreto, and that's a good stop, 7.6 seconds.
Tremendous stop by the McLaren team there. Beautifully efficient, and that should get, and Prost has got out. I think that was Piquet in the background, and so that could effectively have moved Prost up into second place. But remember, he's got cold tyres, and he's got to have to fend off Piquet for a lap or two.
So there is Berger, the young Austrian, commanding the race, and his tyre stop, of course, is going to be absolutely critical, and here it comes. Now, the fastest we've had so far was Prost. Berger will almost certainly, in fact, I'm sure he will lose his lead as he comes in to stop, but Prost's time was 7.6 seconds. The Ferrari mechanics were drilling this morning. On go the impact wrenches, off come the wheels, on go the new ones. This looks like a good one, and it's not a bad one. It's 8.5 seconds, and Alboreto is through into the lead. And that's Alio out again. Philippe Alio has once again blown it. As Prost goes through ahead of Piquet, and the race order now on the half-distance lap is Michele Alboreto leading. Berger is second, 7 seconds behind him. Barby is up into third place in the Benetton, 11 seconds behind Berger. And 1 second ahead of Alain Prost, who is 1 second ahead of the fifth place man, Nelson Piquet.
Alain Prost will be anxious that Barby goes for his tyre stop now to save him the trouble of having to pass him, because he is in fact holding up the big battle, which is effective for second place, as Piquet has a look down the inside of Prost, and Prost says no thank you very much, shuts the door across Piquet's bows. And here comes Michele Alboreto. Alboreto into the pits for his tyre change, so Alboreto surrenders the lead back to the genuine leader early, Gerhard Berger.
Well, you can see the time, and this is going to be a real flyer. That, I think, is one of the fastest tyre stops we have ever had. Michele Alboreto, 6.8 seconds.
And despite that very fast pit stop by the Ferrari team, for Michele Alboreto, it wasn't enough to get him out ahead of Prost and Piquet.
Barby and Prost and Piquet are absolutely together, and Prost goes through and takes Theo Fabi to move up into second position.
Good driving by Prost. He couldn't do it on the straight. The McLaren didn't have quite the power to pass the Benetton. Here we see it again. He's just flicked inside. Of course, remember, he's got a bit more grip because he's on the fresh rubber, and Fabi couldn't head to the inside of the track. So the Prost will be very pleased with that, but he's got a lot of work to do now to try and set about reducing that lead that Berger has got.
Who is that down there? It's Alboreto. Alboreto again retires. What bitter luck. I keep using that phrase, but Alboreto retires from fifth position. In fourth position, it's Theo Fabi now, who has been caught and passed by both Prost and Piquet. De Cesaris is up into fifth place with the retirement of Alboreto.
And there you see the gap visibly. That's Johansson going through just in front of Berger. That's Berger, and then Prost following.
He's not only following, but he's gaining fast. It's down to 8 seconds, and never underestimate Alain Prost. Fifth in the World Championship in 1981, fourth in 82. The fastest man on the circuit now, a new lap record. And Piquet looks as though he's in trouble. He's been caught by Fabi. In fact, Piquet in third position is in danger of losing it. Berger goes through. Here he is going through to complete another lap. And the distance, the gap now is 3.9 seconds. What an absolutely super finish to this race, because Prost is now under 4 seconds behind Gerhard Berger. And of course, if you can see the man that you are trying to catch, it is an enormous incentive. And Prost can see him. He can see the Ferrari getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it gets closer. Prost 1 minute 19.59. That is a new lap record.
Yes, tremendous stuff, the way they pulverized that record, particularly Alain Prost in his pursuit of Berger. But Berger is responding, and he's not hanging about either. He's only a couple of tenths slower than Prost, and he, like Prost, is going quicker and quicker and quicker as they get towards the end of the race.
the replay. Berger spinning off, and this was the spin that cost him victory in Portugal and a pretty bad reputation, unfortunately for himself, in Italy. Alain Prost now on his last lap. Berger is in second place still, but Piquet is third, Fabi is fourth, Johansson is fifth, and Cheever is sixth. And this is going to help Alain Prost's World Championship chances. Not at all, actually, because he's out of it, and there goes the checkered flag. Alain Prost is virtually within sight of victory as he comes up to the highest point on the course. He now has to go into turn 13 at about 145 miles an hour, the long right-hander. Then it will be into the finishing straight to take the checkered flag. This is a record. Alain Prost wins his 28th Grand Prix. He knows it. The Frenchman gives the clenched fist of victory, knowing that he is now the greatest Grand Prix driver of all times. Victory in Portugal for Alain Prost, his 28th, a record. In second place, Gerhard Berger. Third, Nelson Piquet. Fourth, Theo Fabi. Fifth, Stefan Johansson. And sixth, Eddie Cheever. So now Nelson Piquet continues to lead the World Championship, 67 points. Senna second on 49. Then it's Mansell and Prost, third and fourth. Williams now continue to lead the Constructors' Championship, but McLaren have regained the second place ahead of Lotus.
Yeah, sorry.
Alain, you have now become the greatest of them all. Is this your best day?
Honestly, it's very good for me. It's fantastic, but this win comes at the right moment, not only for me and also for the team, because we had a very, very difficult moment, and even if we leave Porsche at the end of the season, I think it's very, very good for them to live in this way. And for the motivation of the team for the next season, it's fantastic because we have a hard work. We are going to test very soon. We are going to push hard to win the next championship, and this win is fantastic for us.
And next week in Spain, we have round 13 of the 16-race World Championship. And if Portugal is anything to go by, Spain is going to be terrific. Don't miss it on Grand Prix.